What a whirlwind few days. The people I'm going to talk about today, they did not consume their Disney and Pixar movies as children. I know I did, and the message ingrained in me was never give up. Unfortunately, the day before, studio devs have done just that. They released their huge game, the biggest release they've ever done, just a few days ago, and now the entire studio's closed. They've given up. They've run for the hills. They may or may not have taken everyone's money. They've gotten the hell out of there, and now it has been confirmed that the day before was one big scam. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Who could have seen that coming? But to give you the TLDR, the day before is or was a zombie MMO that for some reason had hype around it. It was one of the most wishlisted games on Steam, for no particular reason at all. The studio, fantastic. They've never done anything in their lives. They've always been totally useless, releasing asset flip games on Steam for a few bucks. Absolutely nothing going for it. And the marketing was not much better. The game looked absolutely putrid, horrible. It was as if the devs were waving to us and saying, hey, the game's a total scam. We're not trying to pretend it's not, but are you feeling lucky? Would you like to buy it anyway and hand over your money? There was basically nothing except for false promises from the developers that this game would be good. My rule is always, if you can't show it, it doesn't exist. You can talk and talk about the game's gonna have this, it's gonna be the biggest MMO ever, zombies, incredible combat, incredible loot, dungeons, raids, whatever you might expect from an MMO, but if they can't show it, it's a scam, it is false. There are some exceptions, and it's why I mentioned the studio's track record. Maybe if they released something competent in the past, you could give them the benefit of the doubt, but there was nothing, they've done nothing. And as always with any of these disasters, there are copers. Before the game came out, you had these people online going, oh, I know this is going to be the greatest game ever. I know there's haters, but this game's going to cue up my depression. I might have more money than brains, but I'm going to buy this. I know it's going to be the greatest thing of all time, the best MMO. You had them, and then after the game came out, after the studios shut down, there are still copers. There are still people a little bit like, you might have heard the story of the Japanese war veteran who 40, 50 years after World War II ended, he was still out there. He still thought the war was going on. This is like these people. The game is literally gone. The studio's gone. And they're still going, I know the game's going to make a comeback. You haters can't stop this. But I do have a public service announcement for these copers. Here in Australia, we have the Disability Pension Program. It's an incredible initiative. If you've got a disability, you can be paid by the government. If you have purchased the day before, then congratulations, you're eligible. I'd recommend that you give your local government office a call and get applying. Despite all of that, defenders of this game need to be named and shamed, and we're going to have a look at what some of these copers are saying, because it is gold. First of all, though, the studio fantastic behind this scam, behind the day before, I mentioned that they closed the studio. Essentially, the game came out, they promised to fix it, and then they shut their doors. This is their statement. It is the latest development, the latest piece of news, and here's what they say. Today we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio. Unfortunately, the day before has failed financially. How is that possible? It sold 200,000 copies. 200,000 more than anyone in their right mind could have expected. This looked like a scam from the get-go. Even leading up to release, nothing got better. It always looked like a sham. They surely had to be pinching themselves when they sold this many copies. They must have been thinking, this is a dream, look at all this money. And now you're saying you're out of funds? You did not expect this. I guarantee you that the closure of this studio was well planned in advance. And all this money they're getting, it's a big bonus. It's part of the con. They go on to say, all income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. Who are they? Hookers and cocaine dealers. You don't have any real partners. Who would invest in this? I think I saw there was an investor, but surely they're part of the con. They must have shown this to the same investors who brought into Sam Bankman-Fried. That is the only explanation. We invested all our efforts, resources, and man-hours into the development of the day before. What does that mean? You had volunteers. This is a big thing to remember, is there was not a team working on this, some full-fledged full-time paid team. They were tricking people into using their free time to develop this game unpaid. Who knows if those people had other jobs and were just doing this in their free time? It sounds like a cult. If you're bought into this game, you must be part of the cult. You must have been brainwashed. And sadly, the people who were using their freedom to work on this without getting any compensation, they're perfect because they're never going to badmouth the game. They are all in. They're never going to come out and say, oh, I've completely wasted my time. This thing's a sham. They would have believed the lies that the owners of this studio were peddling, which was to say, no, all the great work, the real work on the day before was done privately in a secret room in our offices. You fool, you volunteer, you keep working on that asset flip stuff. You're not going to see the real gem, the real brilliance behind the game until it releases when the general public can buy it. You're a volunteer, so you're not going to get a free copy. You better buy it as well. These volunteers were likely treated like absolute shit. It's sad. I feel sorry for them. Although I don't really feel sorry for them, because if you were dumb enough to get involved, that might have been your just desserts. They go on to say, we really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately we don't have the funding to continue the work. 200,000 copies, you were selling at $40 a copy, that is millions, and you can't commit to it? Again, they knew this was going to happen. Any money they got was a complete bonus. You don't collect millions and then suddenly you've got to shut down. They knew this was going to happen, and the amount of times they pretended the game was coming out and there'd be some excuse for why it couldn't release. It'd be, oh, our dog wandered into the server room, they chewed on the cables, now the game can't release, we're going to have to delay it another 10 months. There were mountains of those excuses. And if you look here on the right, Call of Duty, who've just had an absolute disaster, embarrassment in terms of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, they're out here saying, you should refund everyone for this. Call of Duty are being the moral arbiters here. Great excuse for them to come out and draw the negative attention away from them. They must love these devs. They go on and say, it's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. More lies, because there's countless evidence to suggest that the day before was a marketing scheme to get people to buy their other useless games, where there was no attention being directed, and they always knew this. They knew they had no game, but they thought, oh, if we can get some people to buy our other scams, then technically we haven't scammed them with the day before. We're innocent, we can get away with it. At the moment, the future of the day before and prop night is unknown, but the servers remain operational. In other words, you've skipped town. You're never coming back. We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. We learned that it's easier to commit fraud than it is to actually release something competent that is of good value. We're grateful to everyone who supported us during these difficult years. It's been a fantastic journey over the past 8 years, releasing asset flips and our biggest scam yet in 2023. It's quite a remarkable achievement. But I mentioned there's copers. There are people that despite this news, the studio's gone, they're still out here to defend it. And let's have a look at some of these people. Here is Exhibit A on the day before subreddit. This sub is full of fake gamers who do not appreciate how big this game will be in every aspect, and they call it a scam. You could not even pre-order the game yet, and these special snowflakes, they attack the developers and fans who are looking forward to this insane, ambitious game that is going to be a masterpiece. How can we not see the light? This person, their worldview, it's something to really appreciate. If I could, I would have already done so. I would have already pre-ordered. That's the way to make sure you get a great game. You give the devs, you give the game company all your money before they've actually delivered the product. What's their incentive after they've gotten the money to actually release something competent? That's the whole point. That's why we should not pre-order. It's not complicated. The developers are doing it the right way by not accepting pre-orders, so people are not getting scammed in this case. As I said, as many other people have said, they were using this game to try and get more attention on their genuine asset flip scams that they were charging money for at the time. Sure, they weren't accepting pre-orders for the day before, but that's because it would have made it too obvious. They're experienced scammers. They've been doing this for years. They admitted that themselves with all their history. Get it together. The game will be amazing, and I will take 3 days off work to play it and order pizza every few hours to my house. Something tells me if you're off work and you've got this brain, they're probably not missing you. They're probably still getting the job done. Pizza every few hours? I don't even have words for that. It will be better than DayZ, The Last of Us, The Division, and GTA combined. Don't panic, ladies and gentlemen. I know on good authority this person has been checked in to their closest institute. They're going to be okay. But the copium continues, as this person says. The person who posted this, that is, and this user, they don't care what anyone thinks because they're having fun. And they even managed to name themselves after the game itself, after the day before. That is fitting. Someone challenges them. LOL, they say. And Cubicle Diarrhea responds, I heard it's getting shut down, but I got my money's worth. You got your money's worth in 4 days? The amount of fucking copium. And let's remember, this was meant to be an MMO. There was the bait and switch. It was actually a survival extraction shooter, like an Escape from Tarkov, The Division. But originally it was meant to be an MMO, and this person clearly bought the game thinking that would be the case, that they were going to get a multiplayer online game to play for years to come. No, apparently they got their money's worth in 4 days. It's fine. I had fun. How is it a scam? It released and I'm playing it, lol. A product can't be a scam if it exists. Doesn't matter if they completely lied, they made up anything they could to get me to spend $40. If it exists, and they say it exists, no scam here. Go home. This is from the devs themselves as well, because a few days before the day before's release, they were doing a celebratory run. They were going to take the haters head on and show them you were wrong. It was time for them to laugh at you. You thought this was a scam, you couldn't be further from the truth. And they said to our future player who will dive into the game on December 7th, we made this for you so that you will enjoy the game and it becomes a celebration. Together, we will continue improving the game and adding content. We just forgot to mention we're going to close the studio 4 days later, but we did a little bit of work. To a person who didn't believe in us, we made the game for you too. We accept any kind of criticism and we don't hold a grudge against you. Funny that, because their mods on Discord were personally insulting anyone who was criticizing the game. I saw posts where they were calling people the N-word. They were getting pretty nasty. No, they're open to all feedback. Speak your mind, it's all fine. Before we continue moving forward together, kindly allow us to note a few things. Please forgive us for not doing the best marketing and teasers. That was the only work that you did. If you didn't do a good job there, where was the work? What did you do? We learn something new and improve ourselves every single day. Yes, you learn how to be better con artists. You somehow sold 200,000 copies of this turd. I'm impressed about that. That's about it. Please don't accuse us of scamming. That's not true. We didn't take a penny from anyone. The game's $40. I guess they're trying to say some sort of big mindfuck where the game hasn't released yet, so technically we haven't scammed anyone. Even if we scam you later because the game's not out yet, it doesn't count. Nice try. I think people are not fooled at this stage. Please don't accuse us of an asset flip. That's not true also. There was someone who actually compiled everything. They managed to find every single asset, including the world itself. Even the huge sprawling map is just one big asset that they paid $300 for. They're lying even here when you can check the receipts, you can get the evidence. I guess they have no shame, it's impressive. Our team worked day and night for 5 years to make our dream game a reality. What is this team? Do you mean the two of you, the scammers, the owners at the top of the pyramid, and then you're talking about 5 years of work from volunteers? What were you really doing? Was it going on the Unreal Store, whatever engine it was developed on, and just clicking buy on these assets, chucking them into the game? Impressive stuff. That's got to be commended. That must have been a lot of late nights spending money that you know you're going to con people back with. Please don't underestimate our work. It wasn't easy. We are like you. We worked hard. And we're incredibly happy that our game will finally see the light of day for everyone to explore. Must be a very dim light because 4 days later after release, you pulled the pin yourselves. You closed the studio. Steam allowed this on their storefront. And I don't hate that. I don't think that Steam should be curating their store too much. I'd like them to let basically anything on there and just leave it up to the user to not be totally stupid and not buy blatant scams, especially when there's user reviews. But given the studio no longer exists, it makes sense at this stage to turn things off, but they did this of their own accord. If you were so excited, what happened? You got all of that money at sign up? Jesus Christ. Here's another user. You should be ashamed of yourself. There was a great game here. This could have been special, but you, me, us as consumers, we spoiled the party. This person says, all the hate in this place. No wonder they closed the game. No wonder the devs are leaving. All of you hateful, spiteful trolls, you should be ashamed of yourselves. If you have ever done anything in your life, you would realize how much time and effort the devs put in to just looking at all your chat messages. I could believe that. If there was any talk about work on the game, I could believe that they were reading chat messages. That's probably the bulk of what they were doing. They were looking for feedback, people exposing the con, and they were thinking, how can we get out of this? We want to make sure everyone buys it when it comes out. That's the only effort that they put in. They were looking at these chat messages for free, like every day. All the hate for the game, which was just released, and they have been updating. Wow! Again, no wonder they turned it off on Steam. The game was not polished. They never claimed it to be. They were working on the issues that were addressed. Again, most of the hateful comments were coming from people who did not purchase the game, because people who bought the game and were not happy were refunded regardless of the time played. If you have ever done anything in your life, you will realize these devs most likely lost their shirts in this project. What? People need to think before they post all this hate. Everyone, enjoy your day. I don't think this person's enjoying their day. They don't seem happy. They seem to be just melting down just a little bit. I don't know what was going on with the shirts. That was an interesting one. Now, the mods on the day before Discord. I mentioned that they were insulting anyone who was criticizing the title. They have now disappeared. They have shut the Discord down. They were probably volunteers anyway. Pretty much anyone except for the con artist owners of the day before studio. They were all volunteers. No one was getting paid. Let's not let these people get away with it either, because one of these nasty mods, here was one of their posts from a little while ago before the game was exposed as a scam. Here's what he said. Brace yourselves, fellow survivors. This week has been a wild ride with a flurry of new members joining our server and making their mark with their unique perspectives. AKA, you better fall in line and say the right opinion or you're going to get banned, you're going to get insulted. To each and every one of you, we say thank you for being an integral part of this incredible cult, the day before cult. But hold on to your hats, because the excitement doesn't stop there. Get ready to immerse yourself in a world of pure hype as we unveil a 10-minute gameplay extravaganza on our YouTube channel. They've deleted all their videos on their YouTube, by the way. They were doing it when the game came out, when it was revealed as a beta and switch. It's not an MMO, it's a survival game. Deleting the videos. Now there is literally nothing there. This extravaganza's all gone. And he said, tune in tomorrow for an experience like no other. Trust us. This is one reveal you won't want to miss, and sadly there were some people who did trust them, and they're not feeling too smart right about now, but this was the tone of this mod, this volunteer. Things have changed after today, with the studio being gone. Here's the same person. A last goodbye and thank you from myself and the rest of your moderation team and volunteers. We appreciated all the fun we've had over the time we spent here. We had our community ups and downs. I know we insulted you and called you names, but we can forgive and forget. The kind words today were appreciated from the mods. FN, the development studio, fumbled and tried to use us as a scapegoat. You did this willingly. You shilled this scam. You called people names. You said, fuck you, you're a cunt to anyone who tried to warn you. And now you're out here saying, one day someone will make the game we all desire. I don't think you should be the judge of that. Stay away from anything games related. You're not a good judge of character. You're a moron. And we lastly have something a little bit different. It's a bit colourful. Please don't shoot the messenger here. I don't endorse this. I certainly don't. Legal reasons. I'm just presenting it to you. This person on Discord, they are not happy. Once again, I am offering $15,000 to anyone reputable who can locate the devs. What will happen to them is none of your concern. Check CNN or Indian news in 3 days. I'll hang their heads for what they have done. Jesus Christ. Some people really do know how to escalate the situation. But regardless of all this, it was a genuine con. The devs deserve to be held accountable, at least in terms of damages. Maybe not like what the last person said, but they do deserve to be held to account. Don't believe everything you read. Use your eyes, trust your eyes. If studios don't show you the game that they're promising, it probably doesn't exist. Don't buy it. In this case, everyone is getting refunds, which is good, but let's be honest, it's because it's a no-name overseas studio. If this was a Ubisoft and EA, and they conned us in this way, which they've kind of done before, not to this extent, but they've released genuine duds, false promises, sold you on a lie, and you certainly wouldn't have gotten refunds then. So use this as a lesson. Don't pre-order, don't buy anything that's not a sure thing. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, bye.